Taurus, there's a weekend that marks the final chapter of some stories. This is that weekend for you. While the world continues to revolve normally, while people plan their casual encounters and routine commitments, you're about to live the last days with someone who has been a fundamental part of your life. Not because you planned it that way, not because you've reached a conscious agreement, but because the universe has already decided that this person's cycle by your side has come to an end, and this weekend will be the farewell, even if neither of you utters that word out loud. That tightness in your chest when you think about that person, that inexplicable certainty that something is ending, even when nothing concrete has happened yet. Your Taurus body, so connected to the natural cycles of life, has already realized what your stubborn mind still refuses to accept. That person is leaving your life, and this weekend is the last time you'll have together before the final separation takes place. The most painful part isn't the disappearance itself. It's knowing it's going to happen and being unable to do anything to stop it. It's living these final days carrying the weight of a farewell that hasn't yet been said. It's looking at that person knowing that every conversation could be the last, every moment shared could be the final, every word exchanged could echo forever as the final sound of a connection that's dissolving. Taurus, you're not one to give up easily. Your nature is to hold on, build, maintain. When you commit to someone, whether in love, friendship, or family, you truly commit with deep roots that don't easily loosen. You're capable of forgiving repeatedly, of giving endless chances, of believing that with patience and dedication, anything can be recovered. But there are times when the universe decides for you, when forces greater than your own will orchestrate outcomes you would never consciously choose. And this weekend marks exactly that. The point where your ability to hold on meets the cosmic decision to let go. No matter how hard you try, no matter how many conversations you start, how many plans you make, how many memories you invoke trying to rekindle what has already faded, this person will disappear from your life. Not necessarily physically or dramatically, but energetically, emotionally, spiritually. The bond that existed will be broken once and for all. Maybe it's a romantic partner who finally verbalizes what you've both known for months, that love has become habit, that passion has become comfort, that you're together more out of fear of change than a genuine desire to share your life. Maybe it's a longtime friend who will do something this weekend, a choice, a revelation, a truth finally exposed, that will undeniably show you that the person you thought you knew never really existed. Or maybe it's a family member, someone whose love you've always considered unconditional, who will cross a line of no return, who will say or do something that will permanently shatter the illusion of security you've built around this relationship, who will reveal a side so incompatible with who you are that coexistence will become impossible from then on. Regardless of who this person is, you already know. Their name popped into your mind as soon as you started listening to me. It wasn't a coincidence. It was recognition. It was your soul confirming what your heart has been whispering for weeks, maybe months, that this person is in the process of leaving your life and that this weekend will mark the point of no return. The pain you feel when you think about this isn't just about losing someone. It's about losing the version of yourself that existed alongside that person. It's about accepting that the future you imagined, with them present, with the plans you made together, with the security of having them as a constant in your life, will never come to fruition. It's about letting go of not just a relationship, but all the possibilities you had mentally built around it. Tauruses live very much in the concrete, in the tangible, in what can be touched and maintained. You build your lives like someone building a house, brick by brick with deep foundations, thinking about permanence. And when something you considered fundamental in your life turns out to be temporary, when someone you thought would be eternal turns out to be fleeting, the ground literally disappears from under your feet. This weekend will be strange, in a way you can't quite name yet. There will be moments of normalcy that will feel surreal because you know they're the last. Conversations that will seem ordinary but will resonate differently because they carry the weight of the end. Silences that will hurt more than words because they'll be filled with everything that's not being said. And you'll find yourself memorizing details. The way this person laughs, the way they say certain words, the unconscious gestures that have become familiar through shared time. You'll want to record everything because a part of you has already understood that soon this will be all that remains. Memories of something that no longer exists, mental recordings of a presence that has become absence. For Taurus is born between April 20th and April 30th. The disappearance will involve someone you considered your emotional foundation, your security, the person you thought would always be there when everything else failed. For those born between May 1st and 10th, it will be someone who shared your visions of the future, your material plans, your dreams of building together. And for those born between May 11th and 20th, the person who will disappear is someone you loved with that deep, silent loyalty characteristic of your sign, someone for whom you would have done anything. The worst part isn't the loss itself, it's the helplessness. It's knowing it's happening and not being able to change it. It's watching something precious slip through your fingers in slow motion, and no matter how hard you try to squeeze it, make a fist, hold on with all your Taurus strength, it makes no difference. Some goodbyes happen regardless of our will to do things differently. Taurus, I know you're struggling with this right now. Part of you wants to close this video, ignore this message, pretend you don't feel the weight of this truth settling in your chest. Because acknowledging that someone will disappear means accepting that you have no control over it. And accepting lack of control goes against everything you are. But what if I told you there's freedom on the other side of this acceptance? That acknowledging the inevitable isn't about giving up, but about stopping fighting the chains that only hurt you more with each attempt to resist. That letting go doesn't mean you've loved less, but rather that you love yourself enough to stop clinging to what you've already decided to let go of. I need you to do something for me, for yourself, and for all the other Tauruses who are going through this same silent pain. Leave a comment saying, I'm learning to let go of what's no longer mine to hold. It's not just a comment. It's a statement of courage. It's you recognizing that accepting an ending doesn't make you weak. It makes you human, real, brave enough to face the truth even when it hurts. And when you write this, you're giving permission to other Tauruses reading this to also free themselves from the prison of trying to control the uncontrollable. Right now, your strength inspires others. Your honesty heals those who suffer alone. And you deserve to witness through your responses that you are not alone in this painful farewell. This weekend won't feature any monumental events on the surface. There won't be an epic fight, a dramatic confrontation, or an official announcement, but in the spaces between words, in the silences that stretch a little too long, in the gazes that no longer meet as before, the farewell will be happening. And you, with your Taurus sensitivity to energy, will feel every bit of it. Maybe you'll even spend time together. Maybe you'll even smile, talk, share meals. But there'll be a different quality in the air. As if you're moving through water, everything a little slower, a little heavier, a little more final. As if you both know you're playing for the last time roles that no longer fit either of you. The universe has a peculiar way of orchestrating goodbyes. It doesn't brutally rip people from your life in most cases. It first creates emotional distance, then physical, then energetic, until one day you realize that someone who was everything in your life has become a memory, a name you see and feel a pang of something that used to be love, pain, connection, but is now just a distant echo. And this weekend marks the phase where emotional distance finally becomes undeniable, where what was ambiguous becomes clear, where what you've been trying to deny becomes an inescapable reality. This person will do or say something, or perhaps the absence of doing or saying something, that will serve as the final punchline to a book you've always wanted to keep reading. For you, Taurus, this is particularly devastating because you don't just lose the person. You lose the entire security structure you built around them. You lose certainties, routines, future plans. You lose the comfort of knowing someone is there, occupying a specific space in the architecture of your life. And when that someone disappears, it's not just an empty space that's left. It's as if the structure itself loses a pillar of support. You'll need to rebuild your life without this person, relearn what it's like to wake up without thinking about them, reconfigure your routines that included their presence, their voice, their energy. Rediscover who you are when you're no longer the version of yourself that existed in this relationship. And all of this will begin after this weekend, when their absence becomes permanent. But here's what you need to understand. The universe doesn't remove people from our lives to punish us. It removes them to prepare us. It removes them because there's something waiting for us that can only enter the space that will be left empty. It removes them because we were clinging to something that had already served its purpose, and by refusing to voluntarily let go, it must do it for us. This person who will disappear from your life this weekend played an important role. They taught you things, showed you aspects of themselves you didn't know, shared pieces of their life that are now part of who you are. But their chapter in your story has come to an end. And as much as you want to add more pages, stretch the plot, make it last longer, that's not how it works. Some people come to stay for a lifetime. Others come for a season, a cycle, a learning phase. And when the lesson ends, when the cycle is complete, when the season changes, these people must leave so that new teachers, new experiences, new chapters can begin. This person's disappearance doesn't diminish what you shared. It doesn't make the happy moments you shared together fake. It doesn't erase the love, the connection, the intimacy that existed. It simply acknowledges that all of this belongs to the past now, and trying to force it into the present or future only causes pain for both of you. You'll be surprised at how many times you'll want to call, text, or reach out to this person in the weeks following this weekend. How many times you'll pick up the phone and almost tap their name in your contacts before remembering you shouldn't, that you can't, that there's no point. How many times you'll see something you know they'd like and have to fight the urge to share it. These impulses are the ghosts of habit. They're the neurological pathways your brain has built through the repetition of having that person as part of your life. And each time you resist the impulse, each time you choose not to contact them, you're actively creating new pathways, teaching your brain that that person no longer occupies that space. It's going to hurt. I won't lie to you and say it will be easy or quick. For a Taurus who hates change and clings to the familiar, letting someone go is like pulling out roots that have already grown too deep. There will be days when you'll question whether you did the right thing by accepting this goodbye instead of fighting for more time. There will be nights when the solidity of their absence will seem unbearable. But there will also be moments, rare at first, then increasingly frequent, when you'll take a deep breath and realize you can do it, that you're surviving, that life goes on even without that person you thought was essential. And in those moments, you'll begin to discover a strength within yourself you didn't know you had. You'll discover that you can be your own foundation, that you can create security, not through other people, but through the relationship you build with yourself, that you can trust your ability to rebuild, to adapt, to grow even through loss. And these discoveries will be fundamental for the next chapter of your life. This person's disappearance will open spaces you didn't even know were occupied, mental, emotional, energetic spaces. And in these spaces, new things will be able to germinate, new relationships that don't carry the weight of old patterns, new dreams that aren't limited by what was possible with this person, new versions of yourself that were being stifled by the existing dynamics. Taurus, this weekend will mark not only an end, but also a beginning. The end of a cycle that was already ending anyway, but which you've been resisting, and the beginning of a period where you'll need to learn to navigate life with an empty space where there used to be a presence. And here's the truth that will sound strange now, but will make perfect sense later. This empty space is actually free space, free to discover who you are without the definitions that person brought. Free to make choices based solely on what you want, not what you had to consider because of them. Free to create a life that is yours and yours alone. In the days after this weekend, be kind to yourself. Don't expect to be okay immediately. Don't force yourself to get over it before you've truly processed the loss. Allow yourself to feel everything, the sadness, the anger, the confusion, the relief that sometimes comes mixed with the grief and makes you feel guilty. All of these emotions are valid. They're all part of the process of coming to terms with a loss. And you, as a Taurus, need to process things at your own pace. Don't let anyone rush you or tell you how you should feel. Your way of coping with loss is unique to you and deserves to be respected. There will be a moment, perhaps weeks or months after this weekend, when you'll look back and understand why this person needed to disappear from your life. You'll see patterns you couldn't see when you were in the relationship. You'll recognize signs you ignored. You'll realize the universe was protecting you from something, preparing you for something, leading you somewhere new that was only accessible through this painful goodbye. And when that moment of understanding arrives, you'll feel something unexpected: gratitude. Not necessarily gratitude for the person who left, but gratitude for the growth that came from the loss. For the strength you discovered in having to move on, for the clarity that emerged from the chaos of an ending. Taurus, someone will disappear from your life this weekend. This isn't a punishment, it's not your fault. It's not a sign that you weren't enough. It's simply the moment where a cycle completes, where a story reaches its natural end, where the universe gently removes from your life something that no longer serves your growth. And when Monday comes, and you realize that this person's absence is now permanent, when the disappearance that was imminent becomes concrete reality, you will need to make a decision. Will you spend your days trying to bring back something that once was? Or will you use your Taurus determination to build something new on the foundations that remain? I know you have the strength you need. I know why you've come this far, why you're facing this difficult truth instead of running from it, why even though you're afraid of what lies ahead, you're willing to endure the discomfort of transformation. This strength will carry you through the difficult days ahead. This weekend is your last with this person in your life the way they've always been. After this, everything changes, but change isn't the end it seems. It's just life's way of making room for what comes next. And what comes next may surprise you in ways you can't yet imagine. If this message resonated with you, if you recognized your own experience in these words, share it in the comments. Don't give specific details, just acknowledge that you're experiencing this goodbye and are finding the courage to go through it. Your voice may be exactly what another Taurus needs to read to feel less alone. Subscribe to the channel because the road after a significant loss is long and deserves continued support. You'll need guidance on how to rebuild, reminders that you're doing well even when it doesn't seem like it, and encouragement to keep moving forward even on difficult days. Turn on notifications so you don't miss content that will support you through this transformation and help you discover the stronger version of yourself that exists on the other side of goodbye. Someone is disappearing from your life this weekend. Let go and trust that there is beauty and growth waiting for you in the space that will be freed up.